Now, there is one witness that they won't bring in front of us. They won't bring in front of the American people. And that's the guy who started it all, the whistleblower.
I say to my colleague, I'd be glad to have the person who started it all come in and testify. President Trump is welcome to take a seat right there.
Welcome back. Well, that was one of the more intriguing counterpoints there between Republican Jim Jordan and Democrat Peter Welch during today's hearing. With me now is Democratic Congresswoman Terry Sewell of Alabama. She's a member of the House Intelligence Committee, also vice chair of the House Ways and Means Committee. Congresswoman Sewell, given what you thought today would be versus what it is, what do you think? Do you feel as if you've laid out this case for the American public to understand better today than they did yesterday?
You know, I think it's so important that we allow transparency to really reign. The American public deserves to know the testimony. And I think that the testimony that was delivered today by very credible patriots was devastating to this administration, to this presidency. What we heard is a long we heard a very arduous and convincing argument about presidential abuse of power. I think that it's important for my constituents to know that we all take this very seriously. And following the facts where they lead us, I haven't prejudged at all. Okay. But this was pretty damning, and I thought that the evidence is piling up. Okay,
you said you haven't prejudged here. What is it about the evidence that you're seeing that you're saying to yourself, we got the election now less than a year away, but this is so egregious he has to be removed from office? Walk me through that line of thinking for you.
Well, I thought that the testimony today of Ambassador Taylor, where he said that there was not one regular channel where that our foreign policy with Ukraine was being, but there was an irregular, an informal channel that was actually going against the policies that would actually benefit the American people. And I think for me, where the crossing of the Rubicon occurs is really this president asking for a favor, making statements just because you say them out loud doesn't make them not true and not actionable. I think that I really think that for me it was just the testimony of Taylor today that I thought was really compelling. And I think that when you talk to a soldier, and we just celebrated Veterans Day, and you say, if you're going to war and your commander-in-chief withholds valuable weaponry, and does so because of his own personal agenda and not that of the public good or the troops, what is that? Is that actionable? I would say yes. I would say it's treasonous, and I definitely would think that that soldier would be court-martialed. And I think that alone to me, is something that the American people can understand.
You had said to me a couple Sundays ago that you believed in this more narrow focus of this impeachment proceeding, focus on what you've seen here with Ukraine. You had been somebody that had withheld a call for impeachment, unlike many of your Democratic colleagues. You withheld it until this Ukraine incident. But let me ask you this. Are you at all concerned that your case is too narrow? Meaning that that there are breadcrumb trails that lead you to other countries and other places that a longer investigation might uncover even more things. Are you concerned you might be short-circuiting this investigation?
Well, you know, I think that just within this particular incident, we also have an obstruction of Congress. This administration is telling its personnel not to come before Congress with a subpoena. What is that if not obstruction of justice? So I think that within this discussion of this particular Ukraine incident, which I think was totally egregious and can't be the new normal, it cannot be the new normal. I think that my constituents understand right and wrong. And clearly you can't listen to the compelling testimony that we heard today from Mr. Kent, as well as Ambassador Taylor, and not understand that what the president did was wrong. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves, and the question that will be before the Senate, is it impeachable? And I would just say to everyone listening that we understand right and wrong, and do we really want to not reprimand a president who's extreme abuse of power for his own personal purposes to interfere in our elections. I represent the 7th Congressional District of Alabama, where people died, fought, bled for the right to vote. And we should not have a president that is openly encouraging foreign interference in our elections. That, to me, is wrong.
If you use the word reprimand here, an impeachment without conviction, is that a sufficient reprimand?
Look, I think that whether it's impeachable or not is going to be, or whether it gets him removed or not, will be a decision that will be up to the Senate. And frankly, I think that as this evidence continues to pile up, it's becoming much more egregious to me, and is reaching a heightened level that I think will be impossible for the House not to take very seriously this obstruction of justice, this abuse of power, as impeachable.
Congresswoman Terry Sewell, Democrat from Alabama, as you just stated yourself, the 7th District there. Thank you for coming on and sharing your views. I appreciate it. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Beat the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.